Okay. Hello everyone, how you guys doing? Yes, I'm sorry I started kind of late today. I know I did. I'll start the GTA stream earlier on Sunday. I'm just sorry. I've just been busy with like a lot of stuff, so I apologize. My apologies for that. I'm gonna have another Ace Combat part up tonight after the stream. So if anybody wants to watch that, we'll have that up. Let me see here. I only played the Telltale Walking Dead games part 1 and 2. I didn't play part 3 and 4. Well, I'll be doing a lore video about CJ's mom's blender. Yeah, probably. I'll probably get to that. That's when is April 1st? April 1st is what day is that this year? It's a Wednesday. Okay. That'll be funny. I'll try to do something on April 1st. Your mom's birthday's on April Fool's. Oh, that's gonna be a crazy birthday to have. A lot of jokes probably on that day. Would you say the mercenary cipher is a psychopath or a sociopath? Well, if you play with you know, mercenary style, very much so. I mean, like, he doesn't really care who he blows up as long as he's getting paid for that. Really doesn't care much. What's your thoughts on the PS5 price increase and the PS5 Pro now at $900? It's ridiculous. It's a combination of this inflation from this stupid war, but also the RAM prices too. Thank you, Jake Hunter, for the super chat. Yeah, I heard about FBI Agent Simulator. I heard about it. Would you consider Tony Soprano a villain? Oh, definitely. Definitely. So the thing is, to be even the main character can be a villain. So like that's it. Like a villain is just somebody that's a bad person.
Should have everything you need in there.
Ready or not, one day I do want to play it. I do.
Nice. Enjoy it. Mark that down.
Thank you, Joshua. Yeah. I actually do want to talk about those GTA theories, but like breaking down how ridiculous they are one day. Oh, what the hell? What did I just do? What? I don't even know what I did. Walmart manager stole $90,000 from the company? What? What are your thoughts about the crater Earth theory? What is that? You gotta explain what that is to me. It's the first time I'm hearing of this. Wait, can you post your comment? We'll have a crazy current events video on the inspectors, Pat. Maybe. I just have to look up the articles. We can also talk about that when I'm doing my exclusive stream soon. I posted it in the channel members tab. Yeah, I heard about that. Tiger Woods was in a car crash, and a lot of people were feeling bad for him. But then it was revealed that he was drunk. And then, like, people are really pissed off at him now. Like, what's his condition? How bad is it?
What was that for? You don't want to do this.
What? Okay, there's only 2 minutes on this timer.
For the love of God.
No, he was not drunk, but he blew triple zeros, but he was on some sort of drug or medication. Oh, okay. Oh, okay, QC suppressor.
Damn unit.
Damn, why they always gotta put the rock here? Come on, horse. Come on, come on. Horse, what are you doing, horse? Why did this mission only have a 2-minute timer?
Well, shit. What in all hell?
You did good with this. Tumbleweed.
Ooh, okay.
I believe you'll find that figure to your liking.
Okay. Clash Royale game? Isn't that the mobile game? I don't remember the town, QC suppressor. So you've done that same bounty then before. Oh, you reached rank 20 in Moonshiner. Okay. Yeah. Moonshine was actually a pretty good roll. Okay, General, we'll do one more bounty here, and then we'll do your Moonshine, okay? Yes, I did hear that Sony's raising the cost of the PS5. I might have a video about that tomorrow. Maybe I have a video talking about that tomorrow. Hey, what's wrong, Brianna? Japan self-defense soldier arrested by trespassing the Chinese embassy in Tokyo? What? Why would he do that? My top 3 favorite games from Rockstar. Number 1 would probably have to be GTA 4. Number 2... I mean, I don't want to say GTA's all of them, so if we're just saying not one title of every series, GTA 4, first one. Second one, probably Red Dead 2. Third one... probably LA Noire then. Yep.
Show yourself, damn it. Get the hell out of there right now.
Well, San Andreas is a great game, but my favorite one is probably GTA 4. Would you ever play Inzoi? It's like The Sims trying to be GTA. Thank you, Princess Isabel. Thank you for the super chat. I've never heard of this game before. Inzoi? Let me Google this game. This is the first time I'm hearing about this game. I've never heard of this game before. Inzoi, you said. It's a life simulator game. It's coming out on PS5 also. Players an intern at an AR company. Manage a neighborhood of virtual people. I could look into this game. Excuse me, sir, what aisle are the eggs in? Wait, what, Miku? Thank you. Thank you for the super chat. Hi, Cody. Why doesn't GTA Online have crossplay with other consoles? Because Rockstar never bothered with it. You know, GTA Online, when you really think about it, when you really do, GTA Online is ultimately what it is it's just a PS3 game that has been remastered to PS5. That's all really what GTA Online is. It's been a month since the war has started. I haven't been able to get into contact with my family lately because of a blackout. I hope it ends soon. I'm sorry to hear that, Ferris. I hope that this stupid war ends soon. Thank you for being a member of my channel for almost half a year. In World War II, who had the most confirmed kills as a fighter ace? That I actually really don't know. I can tell you who the deadliest sniper was in World War II. That was Simo Haiha, 505 confirmed kills. But for deadliest ace, I actually really don't know. I should know this. I should. I do like history a lot, and I'm actually surprised I don't know that one. I will also Google this right now, Deadblood, because I'm actually curious about this myself. Let's see here. What pilot had the highest kills in World War II? Let's see. Who was it? It was like I was thinking, it was a German. Yeah, the Germans had some pretty good aces. So Eric Hartmann, achieving 352 confirmed aerial victories, shooting down 345 Soviet and 7 American aircraft between 1941 and 1945. Yeah, there are things I don't know too. What the? Characters in the ground. Will I stop playing GTA 5 online once GTA 6 comes out? Yeah. But I will, I might come back to GTA Online every now and then for like a nostalgia stream, basically. Have I heard of Ernst Röhm? Yes. Ernst Röhm was the leader of the SA, which were basically the early Nazi militias. And Hitler was really against them getting even more power. And he had Ernst Röhm killed. So Hitler did have Röhm killed. That happened in the mid-30s. Pat, do quickly Google YULQC Lang inspectors. I can Google it. Okay, let's see. Undercover inspect language checks in thousands of Quebec stores. Secret shoppers will be checking on stores taking notes, but not handing out penalties. This is so stupid. This is undercover language inspectors are heading back into Quebec stores, bars, and restaurants to check if customers are being greeted and served in French. Oh my God, that is so stupid. Like I said, this is honestly one of the stupidest laws that I've heard about, and this is the best way for Quebec to destroy their tourist industry, but also to destroy their businesses. Is like this law. It's so stupid. Look, here's the thing is if they passed a law in Quebec, right, that said that the official language of the government of Quebec, the state government, if they pass a law that says the official language of the government is French, I don't think that would really be a big deal, because historically French has been the native language of that area. So if they had like French as like the official government language, I don't think that would be a big deal. But trying to require like businesses to speak French, forcing private businesses to speak French, it's one of the stupidest things I've heard about. I've never heard about a country doing something like that. Like we're like trying to force like private businesses to speak a certain language. I've never heard about something doing something like that's ridiculous. That is it. And English is really the business language of the world. What happens if those businesses in Quebec start doing business with like other countries' businesses that speak English to them? Like, are they going to speak to them in French, and then they're going to have to get a translator in between now? Like, the whole thing is just stupid. It makes honestly no sense. It's a dumb law. It really is. Manager, please do 45-minute tasks in 15 minutes. Yeah, my old manager was like that in retail. I remember one time when I was closing with my manager, he wanted me to man the register, and he wanted me to vacuum the front. He wanted me to stock the cigarettes, which were in the back behind the register. He wanted me to also face the front aisles, which basically organized them, and he wanted me to do throwbacks at the same time too. Which are throwbacks are like the things that customers don't want. So I would literally, what I would have to do is I would have to run halfway across the store, put an item back, and then run all the way back to the register when I see a customer. And it was a nightmare. And I had to like go on the vacuum and start vacuuming like in front of the register. And the thing is, the register where I was at, it was like a long table. It was annoying to get around. Like you had to go all the way around. And I would help a customer go all the way around, turn on the vacuum for 5 seconds. A customer would show up, go back, help the customer, go back to the vacuum. 5 seconds, another customer shows up, go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then when it hit 10 o'clock and I didn't finish everything, the manager basically told me that, you can't, you haven't finished, because of your incompetence, none of this is done, and now you can't leave until everything is done. And the worst part about this is he went home. He went home and he left me there at the store, and he was the manager. And the store had their overnight, so the overnight crew came in, and the manager had left, and I was still in the back of the store, like, vacuuming and, like, putting stuff away. And I was there for, like, an extra 2 hours. It was, like, midnight, and the overnight crew didn't even see me. And I remember the assistant manager, she's like, Pat, what are you still doing here? And I said, the manager told me that I can't leave until I finish all the tasks. And she just said, just go home. Don't worry about it. Just go home. That's what she said to me, and I just went home. And that was that. But, like, yeah, that was more than a decade ago. That was, like, over 10 years ago. I was a lot younger. I didn't know how to stand up for myself. And so whenever the manager told me to do something, I would just do it. But that's how toxic my old manager was in retail. Is I'd BS just like that. Please do 45-minute tasks in 15 minutes. Yeah, thank you, Miku, for that super chat. Evening Pro, hope your night is well. Have you played Resident Evil Requiem, and if so, what did you think? I didn't play Resident Evil Requiem. I know it's getting really popular. People like it a lot. But the last Resident Evil game that I played, though, dude, I'll be honest, was Operation Raccoon City, which came on PS3. I have not played a Resident Evil game since then. I'm not, you know, against getting back in the series. I might get back in the series and start playing them again one day. One day I might do that. You know, just go back and start playing them again. But I haven't played them in a long time. Thank you, Corvix, for the super chat. I know you didn't want to talk about the stupid war, but you told me that this could end up becoming worse than the '08 recession if it continues. How and why? Yes, so I'll answer your question. Thank you for the super chat, Blinded Eagle. So I don't want to scare anybody, but if anybody here is like younger, or I would say older, what am I saying? If anybody here is like remembers 2008, if you grew up in 2008, you remember the recession that happened, the housing market, that disaster that happened in 2008, and what is going on right now, the reason that it scares me personally, it does scare me a lot, is because this situation could actually get worse. So if in like the next, you know, couple months, this could be worse than what you had in like 2008, because of the this stupid war. What it's doing is it's disrupting global oil supplies. Iran is blocking the Strait of Hormuz, and that, like, China, for example, gets 90% of its oil from the Strait of Hormuz. And while some people might not care about that too much, you have to also remember that China is a global manufacturer. And with what ends up happening is if gas goes up insanely high in China, that's going to affect all manufacturing in China, which is going to cause an increase in goods. And that's also going to be passed on basically to a lot of Western countries too. And with, you know, gas has already gone up. Like where I'm at, gas in the Midwest is pretty cheap, but it's gone up already $1 this month. That's insane to have like an increase like that. And when gas goes up, everything else goes up. So like, you know, because you have to ship things to store, use gas, the price of groceries goes up. Groceries have not gone up that quickly, but they will. If this war keeps dragging on, you will notice grocery prices will go up quickly, and interest rates are already increasing on homes, which is really bad too. It's going to be more harder for people to buy homes. So we could be basically heading into a recession. That's even worse than what you had in 2008. That's what's just so scaring me so much about this. So I don't normally, you know, I normally stay out of the whole political drama, but I do think that it was just a mistake attacking Iran. I don't think that the U.S. should have done that, and I think that this is basically, this might turn into America's Ukraine. That's basically what this might be. This might be a forever war. This might be something that's going to, you know, be going on for months and months now, because Iran there's no proof Iran is backing down. None. Sega made a live-action Yakuza Kiwami that you need to watch on your exclusive stream. Yeah, I could do that, Shiny Knight. Yeah, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for that, man. Hey Pat, that was a good stream we did yesterday for Generation Zero anniversary. Just wondering, will you keep doing more live streams on it to beat all the DLCs? Let me know. We can, Brandon, but the next time I play Generation Zero, I have to be better prepared. Like I have to be better prepared on that game, because when we streamed it yesterday, it was this disaster. Like I kept dying so much. Like I haven't played the game in so long. Like I didn't think I would suck that badly, but I sucked so badly. I died so much on that stream last night. Like that's just those bosses, those enemies are so difficult in that game. They are. Welcome to Clown World, Pro. It seems that we are all governed by clowns. Shall we make the world, shall we make the world, the world's anthem circus music too while we're at it? Thank you, Mario. And thank you for being a member of my channel for almost 4 years. Thank you, Mario. I do appreciate it. Which country is worse, Eritrea or Equatorial Guinea? The thing is both of those countries are worse. What you could have done is you could have also added Somalia onto that list. You know, Somalia, Eritrea, Equatorial Guinea, and Sudan. Those 4 countries are like the worst countries to live in Africa, is those 4 countries. And speaking of which, about Eritrea and Equatorial Guinea, specifically, those 2 countries alone, those 2 are the most brutal dictatorships in Africa. They are the worst dictatorships in Africa, is Equatorial Guinea and Eritrea. And I honestly don't know which one is worse. Like, Equatorial Guinea is like a very small, very, very tiny country in Western Africa, and it's a brutal dictatorship, and the dictator has basically bankrupted the country. The dictator lives in absolute luxury. The people just have nothing. Like, they just live in shacks. Like, that country is just so poor. It's one of the most poorest countries in the world. And then you have Eritrea. Eritrea is in Eastern Africa. It used to be part of Ethiopia. Now, the thing about Eritrea is a brutal dictatorship, and people call Eritrea the North Korea of Africa. The thing about Eritrea is Eritrea has had the same dictator since the 70s. And that guy is still in power. He is still dictator. So imagine, he's like one of the longest ruling leaders in history. He's like, I think like close to 50 years that the guy's been governing for. But the scary thing about Eritrea as a country, the reason that country is so terrifying, is because in Eritrea, every single person is part of the military. Every single person. And not even North Korea does a system like that. Like, in North Korea, there is a draft, for both men and women, but not every single person in the country is a soldier. But in Eritrea, every single person is a soldier, and their military service could basically be life. So you could be in the military for life, basically. That's what's so terrifying about that country. Like, I don't know, that in that country, every single person is a soldier. I don't know how that country even functions, how their economy functions. It's a complete disaster. And here's the crazy thing about this. What Eritrea does is Eritrea also blackmails people in their own country. And how they do that is, if you are from Eritrea, right? And you have family that lives in Eritrea, and you escape from Eritrea, North Korea, what they will do, for example, is they will just throw your family in, like, prison camps if you escape from North Korea. But in Eritrea, if you escape from that country and, like, you go to a country like America, Eritrea will tell you, we'll let your family live, but you have to keep sending money back to our country in dollars. And that's what they do, is they basically, anybody who flees the country, they threaten them and they tell them, oh, you gotta send us money back or we're gonna go after your family. And so people that flee the country are then sending money back to the dictatorship because they're scared the dictatorship is gonna go after their family. It's such a psychotic dictatorship. Like, it's such a piece of crap government it is. There's only one TV channel in the entire country. It's propaganda. It's such a messed up country. It is. It's a brutal dictatorship. And also, Eritrea is also friends with North Korea. They're actually allies. So that's the thing, is that's all you need to really know about that country, is you see who they're friends with, and you already know what kind of country that country is. It's a really disgusting country. YULQC Build 21 pisses you off. Read previous comment. I did. I talked about it a bit. Bork. How did I miss that shot? Okay. Let me see here. I missed a bunch of comments. The U.S. also wants to attack Cuba. I don't know if that's going to happen because the U.S. is so busy with this Iran crap that's going on right now. But I will say, though, is I'm completely against that too. And the really disgusting thing about this is that there are people out there that will, like, accuse you of supporting these regimes if you don't support this stupid war. Like, I cannot stand the dictatorship in Iran. It's a psychotic theocracy, but I don't want war with Iran. That doesn't mean I support the dictatorship. And I cannot stand Cuba's dictatorship either. I hate communism. Anybody that watches my streams, you guys know how much I hate communism. But that doesn't mean that I want war with Cuba. So that's... Cause damage in the area to learn the targets. Okay. Can I play God of War 3? Thank you, General's Alert. I would like to play the other God of War games first before I do that. Like, I could do a series, like, I've never played God of War before. Like, usually when I do those series, like, a game that I've never played before, they usually get really popular. I guess it's because people want to see my reaction to playing a game for the first time. The reason that we keep dying is the people that join change the difficulty to hard. So next time you do a generation stream, do an invite-only lobby. Okay, thank you, Brandon, for the super chat. I'll watch it soon. I'll watch it soon, Ferris, too.
Time to die. You're better off than a corpse, partner.
You're going to meet your maker.
I could, Shiny Knight.
Dumb son of a bitch.
Oh yeah, and the Central African Republic, they lost to or not the Central African Republic, the Democratic Republic of the Congo. They had a war with Rwanda, and they lost to Rwanda. That's kind of crazy. Like, they're such a larger country to them, and they lost the conflict to Rwanda. Any tips for when you're getting your driver's license? Yes, drive how you normally do with like your parents in the car. That's basically it. Like, I just drove like how I normally drove with my dad, and World at War on Veteran is annoying. Yes, it is. Is Deadeye useless in online? No, it's not. You can headshot people pretty quickly, Deadeye, in online. Okay. Stables, hang on. Vehicles. Okay, here we go. Of an idiot like Jack Doherty would like a post on Tiger Woods getting arrested for DUI, but it's in 2026. We shouldn't be surprised because that dude is a clown. Doherty's an idiot. You know, he is.
Come on.
Oh, well, Jimmy, it's definitely better that America is the global superpower instead of China. Like, if China was the global superpower, the world would be a much worse place. There's no doubt about that. But it doesn't mean that, like, that the United States doesn't do, you know, bad things, or that, you know... So, yeah, that's ultimately how... I love my country and I support my country, but I just don't support these dumb wars. That's just my view on it. Feel free to disagree with me, but that's just the way I see it, is I just cannot support, like, interventionism in all these countries' affairs. I think countries should deal with their own problems on their own.
Son of a bitch.
Is this the Krusty Krab? No, this is Patrick. Thank you, Justin. Thank you for sponsoring my channel for a year and 7 months. I don't believe those GTA 6 map leaks, Steph. I don't believe that. Why was Spain fascist in World War II? Thank you, Hybrid, for the super chat, because General Francisco Franco won the Civil War against the Republicans in the Spanish Civil War. The Spanish Civil War happened in the 30s.
Damn it, of course this happens to me again.
Still remember when your dad, when you said that your dad got laid off during the 2008 crisis. After layoff, your dad worked in a farm and then retired. Yeah, you have really good memory, Jonathan Reagan. Really good memory.
Cocksucking bastard.
Can you do your old man voice impression? Huh. Yeah, My name is Alex Mason, and I defended Florida during the Cuban Missile Crisis. Like that, that's my old man voice.
Christ on the cross.
Take care, Pack Like. I'll give you your rent when you fix this damn door. Thank you, Brandon. Thank you for the super chat. 69 flag. Thank you for liking the stream. Would you compare the Barbary pirates to the Vikings? Though I would argue that the Barbary pirates were not as brutal as the Vikings. Also, they were backed by the Ottomans. Well, the Barbary pirates were basically like a protectorate of the Ottoman Empire. They were kind of technically part of the Ottoman Empire, but like they had their own independent government, and the Ottomans basically let them pillage and pirate as much as they wanted, as long as they didn't attack Ottoman ships, and they gave them a cut, ultimately. Those customers that came 1 minute before closing and said you gotta let piston, you should have stalled and said, oh, we're closed now, too bad, haha, to their face. Well, a lot of these customers, they will complain endlessly. They will. Will I make Hell Let Loose Vietnam videos when the game drops? Oh yeah, probably. I'm a very big fan of Hell Let Loose, so I'm excited when Vietnam comes out. I'm bored. Is this a good game to pass the time with? Single player, definitely great. If you're playing by yourself, single player is an amazing game. If you are playing solo in the online, don't bother. The online is only fun if you play with friends. So like if you're playing with friends, it is fun. And if you have never played the online before, you have a lot of content. You do, when you really think about it, because you have trader, moonshiner, bounty hunter, naturalist. You got a lot of stuff to do with this. But once you finish everything, it could get a little boring. Would I ever play a Souls type game? What, you mean like Dark Souls? Thank you, Kier Saint. Maybe, but what is your IQ source? I don't know. I've never done an IQ test. I should, but I don't know. Iran is just too expansionist for the U.S. to not get involved. Having Iran constantly get involved in the affairs of other Middle Eastern oil powers and such is too much for the U.S. not to do something. Well, the thing about that, Jimmy, is I agree with you. Iran is an imperialist country. It is. There is no doubt about it. Like, Iran supports proxies in other countries. Like, it supports proxies in Syria. It supports proxies in Iraq. It supports proxies in Lebanon, in Palestine. There's no doubt about that. They support terrorist groups all over the world. But the thing about this is the argument is that Iran is interfering other countries' affairs. It is true. Like, one of my good friends on PlayStation, he lives in Iraq, and he complains to me all the time about the horrible, these militias that Iran is supporting in Iraq. So I'm fully aware of what Iran is doing. But the argument is more about, why should we be the ones to fix it? Why should we be the ones to get involved in that? Why should we be the ones to do it? That's more the argument. It's not necessarily saying that, like, oh, we should completely ignore it, but it's more about just saying, like, why are we the ones that are responsible for fixing this mess? Let me see. Well, I really don't usually react to trailers on streams, Shiny Knight, like on this one, but I could do it on the exclusive member stream when we hang out there. Well, I did like Ghost of Yotei also. Ghost of Yotei, I did have fun with it. I did enjoy it. And I know this might be a little bit of an unpopular opinion, but I did enjoy Ghost of Yotei a bit more than Tsushima. While Tsushima was also a great game, don't get me wrong, I liked the combat just much more in Yotei. I did. I liked the fighting in Yotei much more. Like, I liked all the different weapons. I prefer the different weapons over stances. Like, I prefer the different weapons instead of the stances, personally. I think I would personally suck at a game like the Souls games, Kier Saint. Thank you for the super chat. What about the Houthis in Yemen? Yeah, those are ones I forgot about. Yes, the pirates in Yemen. Yes, Iran supports them too. That is true. Hey, first time I caught a stream of yours, and I learned how a Polish 22nd Artillery Company had a soldier bear. Yes, about that. That is true. The bear's name is Voytech, and Voytech was actually from Iran. So it was when, or Persia at the time, when it was when Polish soldiers were in Persia, because that's where Polish soldiers were released. So what happened was a lot of the Polish soldiers, they were former Gulag prisoners that were, taken and when Stalin invaded Poland in 1939. And then a year and a half later, when Germany invaded the Soviet Union, they were released. And a lot of those guys, they got transferred through Iran, through Persia. And that's actually where they found the Voytech, the bear. They found him as a cub, and the Polish soldiers raised him. And the thing about Voytech, the crazy thing about him as a bear, is that he had basically brought crates of artillery shells over to the soldiers. So when those Polish soldiers, they were fighting in the Italian campaign, the Voytech saw that they were firing artillery. He saw that they were loading and firing artillery. And while the bear didn't know how to load artillery, he did understand that those boxes, they needed those boxes, so he kind of figured that out. And what the bear did was the bear picked up several crates of artillery shells, which are, you know, God knows how much those weigh, and the bear was bringing them over. So imagine that, like, Polish soldiers were, like, loading artillery guns and just firing it, and you had, like, a giant bear that was picking up crates of artillery shells and just bringing it over to the soldiers for them to load it. So that's an actual thing that happened. And the Polish bear also, he did have a rank. I don't remember what rank he was, but he did actually have an official rank in the military. After the war, what happened was they put him in a zoo in I think it was in London. He got sent to a zoo in Britain, and a lot of the Polish soldiers, they ended up visiting him. The crazy thing about that bear is that bear is so Polish, because that bear that bear drank vodka, and I'm not joking when I say this. The bear actually drank vodka, and what the bear also did is the bear ate cigarettes and was addicted to cigarettes. So, like, literally, that bear was so Polish there. Let me see. Do you think Red Dead 2 will get a PS5 to Xbox version? No, not anytime soon. I remember being at the grocery store meat counter and the seafood counter by myself, and I was expected to close and stock while not going past my shift time, and the customers were mad at me. Yeah, and what really sucks about that, Queen, is that when you are short-staffed, understaffed, because that happens in a lot of places, a lot of retail and supermarkets, there's constant short-staffing. When stuff like that happens, the customers are so stupid that instead of blaming the company for understaffing the employees, they'll blame the person that's at the front. Like, that's what they will always do. They'll act like it's their fault. That's what I've seen stuff like that happen, where we're short-staffed, we don't have a lot of people on shift, and then we have long lines, and the customers blame us instead of blaming the company. What do you know about the martial law in Poland during the 1980s? You're talking about Solidarność? Solidarność, which means solidarity in Poland. It was a solidarity movement. That was, people were just so sick of the communist government, they weren't going to take it anymore. And that is when the Polish government started doing martial law at that point, too. You had Jaruzelski. Jaruzelski was the final dictator of Poland. Okay, oh, let me go here. Do you prefer Red Dead Redemption 1 or 2 story? The story in the second game I prefer. Foreign intervention in Iran has always been a disaster. CIA and MI6 intervention in the 1950s was responsible for Prime Minister Mossadegh being overthrown for nationalizing the oil and the Shah consolidating power. Thank you for the super chat, Ferris. Iran has a history of interventionism from other countries, it is true, but the first countries that actually interfered in Iran were actually Britain and the Soviet Union. So a lot of people don't know this, that Britain and the Soviet Union actually invaded Iran during World War II. So there was a Soviet invasion of Persia, or I should call it Persia, because that's what it was called during World War II. Now the reason that Persia was invaded by Britain and the Soviet Union was because the US was trying to send Lend-Lease to the Soviets when Germany invaded them. And one of the ways that they could send Lend-Lease, and Lend-Lease was basically guns, tanks, medical supplies, food, you know, everything the Soviets needed to survive against the German onslaught. They were sending a lot of that through Persia. Persia declared itself a neutral country and said, we don't want that. But the issue here is that Persia was more pro-Germany at the time, and so even though they claimed to be neutral, they allowed German agents to freely operate in their country. And so the German agents were very well aware of the Lend-Lease that was trying to come through, and basically they were sending that back to Germany. And that's Britain and the Soviet Union basically got pissed off at that point, and they invaded the country. and they deposed the Shah. They got rid of him. I think it was the Shah who was in power at the time. And then what ended up happening is Iran became a republic. And then, like, Iran, the new Republic of Persia, they threatened to nationalize the oil industry, and then the U.S. got pissed, and then the U.S., what they did was they did another coup, and in this time it was the American intervention. The Americans had brought back the Shah, so they overthrew the Republic, they brought back the Shah, and then in the, and then what had in 1979 is you had, the Islamic Revolution, where that was, that's basically what created the modern-day state of Persia. Let me see. Was the American Revolution like Black Hawk Down? What do you mean by that, hybrid? Thank you for the super chat. Black Hawk Down. That was. You're talking about the Somalian intervention in the 90s. But what do you mean exactly? What are you? You got to give me more of an example. Do you mean was life in America hard for the British? Yes. The majority of the American public hated the British. And the British soldiers were definitely terrified of the American public. There's no doubt about it. Oh, come on. What's going on here? I got sniped. Watch out there, General. What the? What? I shot the dude multiple times, and... Okay. Okay, now I'm confused here. I closed the application before he destroyed it. At least you got that, General. I gotta change my... I just really hope the dude's not in God mode, because if he is, that's... Yeah, I can't even tell. It's Lancaster repeater, of course. It's... Yeah, I don't know why people play like this, honestly. It's honestly just pathetic. My horse, of course, is a million miles away. Normal. That's what I should have it on that. I think he's in God mode. I think he is. I'd like to see it a little bit more up close, but to confirm it, but I think he is. If he's in God mode, a sniper rifle's not going to do anything. I mean, yeah, look at this, guys. You see this? This is honestly just pathetic. This is. It really is. It's just... It is really pathetic that people play like this. It is. It's pathetic. What a loser. That's all I gotta say. What a loser. This is just that. That's the best way to confirm if somebody's using God mode. If you don't know if somebody's using God mode, the best way to confirm is use an explosive round on them. And if you see that crap, you know that they're in God mode. When you see that crap. What a loser. I just visited your Yakuza Kiwami stream at the right time when you told that your dad got laid off, and I rewatch a lot of your videos. What did your dad do before he got laid off? In 2008, my dad was worked in a box factory. Oh yeah, I have both of the games. I never finished Homefront: The Revolution, but I did finish the first Homefront game. That game I did play, yes. General, can you invite me to the posse? Or... let me see here. You haven't formed the posse yet, General. I'm going to be shipping off to the Marine Corps in boot camp in August. I hope you keep up the great content while I'm gone, bro. Okay. Well, good luck on that. I hope everything goes well for you. Lethal's WTL, if I'm reading your name correctly. Good luck, though, dude. I wish you the best. Thank you for also watching my channel. Let me see here. Eat this one here. Maybe I've been thinking about changing the GTA cosplay, but I don't know to what. What I'm probably gonna do for GTA 6 Online when that comes out is I'll probably do a different cosplay for each season. So like every time there's a new update, I'll do a cosplay for specifically that season. Hey, Professional, I just wanted to thank you for your knowledge. You're one of the reasons why I know some stuff in social studies. Thank you, Visionary. Thank you, dude. Okay, let's see here. General, just go. Just go without me. Just go. Okay. What resistance movement do you think was the most courageous one, Italian or French? Well, if you're asking me, what I would say the strongest resistance movement. If I was to name you the strongest resistance movement in World War II, like just in all of World War II, the toughest, strongest, most resistance movement, like the resistance fighters that you would not want to go up against during World War II if you were a German soldier, was the Yugoslavian partisans. The Yugoslavian partisans were the toughest resistance fighters in World War II. And the reason that the Yugoslavian partisans were like the toughest fighters in World War II is because they were the only resistance group that managed to liberate their country on their own, really. So, like, in other countries, there was resistance movements, and they did a lot of damage to the Nazis, and they fought back against the Nazis, but usually there was another country that was coming in to help them, like the Soviets and Poland, and then you also had, like, the U.S. into France, for example, and the U.S. also in Italy. So, but Yugoslavian partisans were one of the few that liberated their country on their own. The Armia Krajowa, if I was to name you the second strongest resistance group, it would probably be Armia Krajowa, which was the Polish resistance. I would say the Polish resistance were stronger than the French resistance. They did much more attacks, and they did a huge the Warsaw Uprising also. So I would say about that. Well, hey, look at this on the, crap, look at this on the bright side, though, Lethals. When GTA 6 comes out, there's probably gonna be a lot of disasters at launch. There probably is going to be, like, a lot of glitches and bugs, and there's probably a lot of bad things that are gonna happen with the online. So by the time you play GTA 6 online, a lot of that stuff will probably be patched. So when you start playing it, you'll probably at least have a smooth experience. How do your parents call you? Do they call you Patrick or son of... well, my parents call me Patrick, usually. That's what my parents say, which is a Polish translation for Patrick. That's what my parents say to me. My name isn't Patrick, by the way. My name is Patrick, but that's what's always what my parents have called me. So they call me Patrick. About the soldier bear Voytech, it was ranked private at the 22nd Artillery Company, moved to Edinburgh Zoo after the war until December 1962. Yeah. That bear is a crazy story, and like, there's a statue to that bear in Poland, actually. My parents call me a disappointment. I'm sorry to hear about that, OE, but look, I can tell you, my parents haven't talked to me like that before, but I have had other family members talk to me like that, like just making fun of me and stuff, and I just ignore them. You know, I know it's not the easiest, especially when that's coming from such close family to you, but don't let that get you down and ultimately believe in yourself and push yourself, because you do have talent in something. Voytech the bear was in World War II, yes. Did I know the Italian partisans managed to liberate Naples after 4 days of fighting in 1943, just in time for the Allied advance in the city on October 1st? No, I didn't know that. No, I haven't really read the mangas. I have the anime that I've watched. I watched 91 Days. That one I watched. I liked 91 Days, which it was like a 1920s mafia anime. I did actually like it. I also liked how a lot of the characters had Chicago accents in that, so like they did do that well. What else? What other anime did I watch? I watched Arslan. Arslan, I watched that one. I watched Galactic Heroes. That one I watched. What other animes have I watched? Do you think Mr. Faber has his own criminal organization? Of course, definitely. $385? What? $385? Is ADHA and panic attacks genetic? I don't know. That I don't know, Aaron. Maybe to an extent, but they're, you know, panic attacks can be caused by a variety of things. You know, when somebody is like, you know, going through something, you know, somebody gets nervous and stuff like that, they can have a panic attack. So there might be some genetic factors played into it, but really anybody can have a panic attack too. Classroom of the Elite? No. I've actually had that recommended to me. When I scroll through Crunchyroll, I've had it recommended to me, but I've never actually watched it. Did you know that King Umberto was assassinated by an Italian anarchist in 1900? A few years prior, he violently suppressed a massive food riot caused by Italian colonial wars in Africa. Honestly speaking, I really don't care because a lot of these monarchies in this time period were massive scumbags. Like, there was a Polish revolutionary, for example, who blew up the Russian king. And I really didn't care about that happening too. You know, I really didn't care because the things that the Russian king was like doing to the Polish people, like, you know, he deserved that. He had that coming. So I really didn't. I really don't care about stuff like that. It's hard for me to feel sympathy for a lot of these monarchies. After their stupid colonial empires that they had, and a lot of the messed up things these people were living. They were living in absolute privilege where their people just suffered so much. Oh yeah, that's close to 14 million what I have. Yes, that is the money that I have in this game. Do you know that Belarus is considered more oppressive than Russia? I don't know. They're both dictatorships. Both Belarus and Russia are dictatorships. I actually have family that lives in Belarus. I don't have any family that lives in Russia, but I have family that lives in Belarus. I have like distant cousins that live in Belarus. Like, they are not closely related at all. I barely know them. I know my father is more close to them. So like my father has talked to them on Skype before Skype got shut down. That's how he would communicate with them and talk to them. But I remember is that whenever my dad would ask them about like things with the Belarusian government and Lukashenko specifically, they didn't want to talk about that. They really didn't want to. They tended to avoid talking about that. But there is one thing I will say about Belarus though, is when it comes to the dictatorship in Belarus though, and I'm not defending Lukashenko when I say this, but Lukashenko at least is a much more honest person than Putin is. He is. Because the thing is that whenever Putin has done interviews in the past, what Putin always says is he always says the exact same thing in the interviews. He always says, oh, I'm not a dictator, I'm the legitimate leader of Russia, I'm the president of Russia. That's what he always says in every single one of his interviews. But the Lukashenko, on the other hand, when he was interviewed and he was asked, are you a dictator? He said, yeah, I'm a dictator. You know, I rule this country, I do whatever I want. So he says that. So I'm not necessarily defending Lukashenko's regime, but the only thing I'm saying about that is at least he admits that he's a dictator, where like Putin will just constantly say, oh, I won an election, I'm the president. Like, that's one thing I'll say about him, is at least, you know, at least he has that where he will at least be honest about himself. Okay. And also, the crazy thing about history, when you think about it too, is Lukashenko is really the only dictator in history, really the only one that I can think of in history, that actually admitted that he was a dictator. He's really the only one. Because literally in all of human history, every single dictator that has ever existed in history never admitted that they were a dictator. Now, did they know they were a dictator? Obviously. But they never admitted to the public that they were a dictator. They never called themselves a dictator. Oh, that is true. Lukashenko recently visited North Korea. He gave Kim Jong-un an assault rifle. That's true. I saw that. But look, the reason that Lukashenko is different is because let's name a bunch of dictators, right? Every single dictator throughout history has always had some kind of title. And the reason they don't flat out call themselves a dictator is because it looks bad. If somebody calls themselves a dictator, that's suggesting that their rule is illegitimate, that they're not a legitimate ruler. So dictator always sounds really bad. So that's why they don't call themselves dictator. Like, for example, Hitler never called himself a dictator. He always called himself the Führer. That was his title, the Führer. And Führer basically means, in German, it basically means like it's a very formal way of saying leader. But Führer has translated essentially to meaning Hitler. So whenever people say Führer, they're talking specifically about Hitler. And in Italy, Mussolini wasn't called a dictator, he was called a duce, which is the exact same thing as Führer, but in Italian. So it's just like a fancy way of just saying the leader. And Stalin, for example, never called himself dictator. Stalin called himself the General Secretary of the Soviet Union. That was it. And what was it? Mao Zedong, dictator of China, he didn't call himself a dictator, he called himself the chairman. Chairman Mao. That's what it was. Chairman. There was also, what was it? Kim Jong-un does not call himself dictator of North Korea. He calls himself the supreme leader of the DPRK, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, when he's clearly a dictator. Putin calls himself a president. Xi Jinping calls himself a president as well. So, like, there's, like, really is, when you go through it, every single dictator always has some kind of name, some kind of title. They don't ever call themselves dictators. It's always something else that they refer to themselves as. And the reason that they do that is because, like I said, dictator is a very bad word, and it basically suggests that their rule is illegitimate. Yeah, Assad did call himself president several times. Yes, he did. That is true. The dictator of Syria. I think that Syria is still a dictatorship, by the way. The new guy that's in charge, I do think he's a dictator. I think he's a terrorist also. Castro called himself the prime minister. Yeah. So there's always some kind of title. But Lukashenko is different. He's different because the thing about Lukashenko is that he's brutally honest. He is. Like, even in his body language, if you've seen the interviews that he gives in his body language, he's very, like, confident in himself, the way he talks. So, like, that's what I'll say about, like, Lukashenko doesn't care about stuff like that. Like, he's very brutally honest, and he'll be like, oh, yeah, I'm a dictator. Yeah, I rule this country how I want. He'll say that. So, that doesn't mean I like him or I'm defending him. The only thing I'm saying about him is at least he has the guts to admit that he's a dictator, where pretty much every single other dictator on this planet always, like, says, oh, no, I'm the legitimate leader, this, blah, 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 the people love me, blah, 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 this. They never say that they're a dictator. What do I think of Holocaust deniers? I think it's disgusting, and I think it's extremely disrespectful to the victims. Like, imagine somebody, like, you know, going through that, surviving that, and then you have idiots that decades later that are basically denying that and, like, saying, oh, those people lied, when, like, the horrible things that those people had gone through. So, like, I don't know how anybody could, in their right mind, deny something like that. And also, almost always, the people that deny the Holocaust, almost always, if you look at their political viewpoints, almost always neo-Nazis. It's almost always neo-Nazis, every single time. So, like, there's no surprise that neo-Nazis are constantly defending the Holocaust. So that's it. So, like, just look at always what their political beliefs are, and you always see it's almost always neo-Nazis that are pushing that stuff. No, I don't like that party, Caleb. Let me see. The Ayatollah goes by the supreme leader of Iran. Yeah, that's the same thing too.
Thank you.
Hey, Pro, did you went over the PS5 increase yet from Sony? At this point, expect a PS6 to be $1,000 since $900 for PS5 is ridiculous. By the way, this is D Yorker. I just changed my name. Oh, okay, D Yorker. I haven't seen you in some time. Thank you, D Yorker, for the super chat. But here's the thing is, here's what I will say about this, and I know this might be controversial what I'm about to say, but if the PS6 is $1,000, then so be it. But I expect online to be free. If they want to charge $1,000 for the PlayStation 6 when it comes out, okay. You know, I know it's going to be annoying, but I expect online to be permanently free at that point. No more subscription ever again. PlayStation Plus should be completely free. Never again. That's the only way that I could see them justifying that. That's the only way I could see them getting away with that. But if they're charging $1,000 and it's not free, then, you know, F that. That's basically what I'll say about that. So that's the only way I could see them justifying it, is if they say, oh, it's going to be free from now on. You will never have to pay for online. Then, but, like, that will at least save us the money over time of all the subscriptions that we played for PlayStation Plus. But if they're going to charge $1,000 and they're not going to make online free, then that's not going to, you know, no. Can monarchy be considered a dictatorship? In a way. It's a little bit different because monarchy usually comes from the difference. Monarchy and dictators really a lot of times have the same power, where a king or a queen could have the same power as a dictator. But the difference is that a monarchy usually comes from some kind of privileged royal aristocratic bloodline family, where a dictator usually is somebody who overthrew the government through like a military coup or something like that. That's usually how dictators come to power, where monarchists will come to power for some like bloodline. Do I listen to Taylor Swift? No. I don't listen to a lot of music. No, I haven't, Jonathan. Do I believe Uncle's read Harlow from Red Dead Revolver? No. Professional history lesson on the 1906 Constitutional Revolution in Qajar, Iran. I don't know anything about that. I can tell you about Iran's history from World War II up until today, but I don't know before that. How do you find this game? I mean, I still like it. I still, you know, but the thing is I can only enjoy this game if I'm playing with friends and if I'm talking to you guys. Like, if I was not streaming and I was playing by myself, I would be so bored right now. I really would. What is my horse doing? Get on the horse. Okay. Oh my god. What is the horse doing right now? Stop being stupid. Get the guy. He's running away. do you guys want me to make a video talking about the PS5 price increase tomorrow? Do you guys want me to talk about that tomorrow? If you guys want me to, I can make a video talking about it tomorrow. Okay, I can do it tomorrow then. Yeah, I'll make a video talking about it tomorrow. Which ending did you get, Orion? Was Napoleon a dictator or a monarch? Kind of both. You know, it wasn't like he came from some bloodline. Like, Napoleon made himself king, where usually kings would come to power through some aristocratic bloodline and all the other aristocrats would accept it. But Napoleon made himself king, you know, or emperor. The thing I'll say about Napoleon also is Napoleon did do one really funny thing. Where what Napoleon did was, he took when he was getting crowned emperor, the Pope was there, and in Catholic monarchies, the tradition was that the Pope would always put the hat on, or the crown on the king. What Napoleon did is he actually took the Pope's hat off and put it on himself, on his head, which is just hilarious. And the reason that's funny is because Napoleon was telling the Pope that you don't tell me what to do. I decide on my own what to do. And so when you really think about it, he's really the first, Napoleon really is the first leader from a Catholic nation that has really stood up to the Pope. So literally, is most Catholic monarchies, they would be extremely obedient to the Pope, but Napoleon was really the first one who, you know, stood up to the Pope, stood up to the Vatican, where most other monarchies were usually just listen to whatever they did and did whatever they wanted. Oh my god, we got a lot of these guys chasing us. I think the first one, Jabron, but not the other one. No, I've never gone through a swamp in Florida. The thing about it is that here's what I'll say about Lukashenko. Is Lukashenko might be really the only thing that's stopping Russia from taking over Belarus. He might really be the only thing stopping Russia. Because the thing is Russia wants Belarus, they do. And Belarus pretty much complies with everything that Russia wants. But if you notice, like, the way the Russian government has talked about Belarus before, they've talked about them like they're not an actual country, like they're part of Russia. Because Belarus in Russian does mean White Russia, but even though it translates to White Russia, Belarus is an independent country, and Belarus also, you know, speaks a different language. Yes, it has some similarities to Russian, but it is a different language. Like, you know, almost every single person in Belarus knows how to speak Russian, but Russians don't know how to speak Belarusian generally. And the thing about it is that Lukashenko got really mad at Putin because, like, a couple years ago, what happened was there was a bunch of Wagner mercenaries that showed up in Belarus and they tried to do a coup. And they basically tried to overthrow Lukashenko and put in somebody that was more pro-Russia. And Lukashenko had all of them arrested. And what the Russian government was, like, complaining about it and was saying, like, oh, you know, they were just on business, or they weren't, like, you know, trying to do any coup or anything like that. No, there's pretty good proof that they were trying to overthrow the government in Belarus. So Lukashenko had those guys arrested. But what ended up happening is Lukashenko, right after that, what he did was, the first time he gave a speech in Belarusian. Because whenever Lukashenko gave speeches, he would always do it in Russian, and he did a speech in Belarusian. And when he did that, the Russian government was, like, so pissed off about that. They were so annoyed about that, and Russian media was, like, attacking him, and they were saying, like, you know, why is he doing a speech in Belarusian? Why isn't he speaking in Russia? This is disrespectful to Russia. But, like, when you really think about that, think about how stupid that is. Think about how stupid that is. Russia is complaining that the leader of Belarus is doing a speech in his own country in his own language. That is really what that logic is. So, like, the Russian media was complaining that the dictator of Belarus was doing a speech in Belarusian and not in Russian. That's like, so Lukashenko did those speeches in Belarusian on purpose. He did those because he was pissed off at Russia. That's ultimately why he did those speeches, not in Russian. But no, that coup didn't happen last year. You're thinking of the coup that Wagner tried to do in Russia. But this was like years before that. Years before that, when stuff like that happened. How much do you know about the gangland of Lower Manhattan slums during the 1800s, like in Gangs of New York? The Italian mafia really wasn't in New York at that time. You had a lot of different, you know, for example, like one of the biggest, like, you know, gangs you had was the Irish gang. The Irish gangs were pretty big at that time. So that's one thing, you know, Gangs of New York gets accurate, but the Italians really weren't still in New York at that time. The Italians started coming in like the 1870s, 1880s, 1890s. That's when they really showed up. You don't have to keep running around. No, I'm just waiting for him to deliver. I'm just a little bored in the meantime.
I need to pass. Of course.
Do you think the U.S. intervention in Hawaii was a mistake? I remember that you mentioned how other powers were keen on making Hawaii their colony. Yes, that is true. So, look, here's what I'm gonna say about this. Here's ultimately what I'll say about Hawaii. This might be unpopular what I'm gonna say, but if the U.S. did not take over Hawaii, Britain would have 100% taken over Hawaii. That's it. So whether you think it would have been better under British or American rule, that's, I guess, up to debate. But if the U.S. did not, and I'm not necessarily saying it was okay, but the only thing I'm saying about that is that Britain had plans to colonize Hawaii. There's no doubt about that. Like, they were going to colonize it. And what Hawaii had is Hawaii had a lot of, like, American settlers that had lived on the island, and a lot of the American settlers did not like the monarchy. You know, Americans typically don't like monarchy, as you know. And what the American settlers were basically calling for the U.S. government to overthrow the monarchy in Hawaii. And it did end up happening. And the monarchy in Hawaii wasn't executed. They weren't even exiled. They were just basically taken out of power. And the U.S. ended up making Hawaii a state later on, which Hawaii basically got, you know, the same rights as Americans as the U.S. So that's it. So a lot of people don't know that. Was the U.S. wrong in taking over Hawaii? Probably. It was kind of imperialist. But the thing about that is, if you look at it, if the U.S. did nothing, like stayed out of Hawaii, I'm telling you 100% Britain would have definitely taken it. They would have definitely taken it. You notice how Hawaii's flag has like the British Union Jack in it? That was because Britain was planning on colonizing it. They were going to take over Hawaii. So if the U.S. didn't take over Hawaii, Britain would have taken it over. If Hawaii was annexed by the Japanese would have been brutal towards Hawaiians. Oh, 100%. If the Japanese had taken over Hawaii, they would have been the worst oppressors. There's no doubt about that. 100%. I agree with you on that. Definitely. No more monarchy. Yeah, there, Mason. There are native Hawaiians that don't like when people visit, and about those Hawaiians, I can kind of sympathize with them. I can kind of understand I understand why they're pissed, because you imagine, like, you know, imagine you're living in Hawaii and so many people are just coming in constantly. They're raising the standard of living. Hawaii is one of the most expensive states in America. It is. It's an extremely expensive state, and it's hurting the locals that live in Hawaii. So I can understand why they get pissed off at all the amount of people that constantly keep coming into Hawaii. I can understand that. Like, they feel like they can't relax in their own state. I kind of get that perspective. Colonialism in general is just evil. I would agree with you, yeah. But the thing is did what the U.S. do in Hawaii's colonialism? It's kind of debated. Maybe I guess you could say it was colonialism to a degree. But the United States ended up making Hawaii a full state, where Hawaiians have the same rights as Americans. Hawaiians are Americans. So the thing is, a lot of other countries didn't do stuff like that in their colonies. A lot of other countries, they did that where when they took over a territory, the people in those territories did not have the same equal rights as the people from their country. So like the British did not give the same equal rights to natives in a lot of countries that they took over. They didn't do that. The Spanish certainly didn't. The Portuguese didn't do that. The French didn't do that. You see how the French treated the Algerians and the Vietnamese. So a lot of but the United States, for example, if you look at like Puerto Rico, if you look at like Hawaii, like Puerto Ricans and Hawaiians were given American citizenship, where like in a lot of other places, you know, when countries took places over, people were not given citizenship. They weren't. So I'm not saying that like America was justified in doing what it did. The only thing I'm saying is that it was a lot less worse than what a lot of other empires did. Let me see here. Anyone saying that us mods are rude, can y'all toughen up? And I mean it nicely. If somebody asks stupid questions, are we supposed to turn a blind eye? Well, Blinded Eagle, I would say is don't time people out and ban them unless it's something like really bad in chat. Even if they're posting generally stupid questions, just let them do that. That's what I'll say about that. Yeah, that's just basically my perspective on it. Is I really only ban people from my chat for two reasons. The only time I ban people from my chat is when they're posting something racist, or if they're posting a scam. So if it's racist or a scam, then they're getting thrown out. But other than that, generally I allow everything. So if it's, even if they're insulting me, You know, for the most part, I don't do anything. The only time we might time somebody out is if, like, if they're constantly doing it. Like, if they're constantly insulting me, like, not adding anything to the conversation and just spamming the exact same thing over and over again, then yeah, they might get timed out. But generally is, I allow everything, even people that talk crap to me. I'm just a very big free speech guy. Do you think the U.S. should have treated Hawaii better, like trying to keep their culture alive? Sure. Yeah, definitely. You know what I think that one thing that I think the U.S. should do, one thing that I think the U.S. should do is I think that in public schools here in the Midwest where I live, I would support programs in schools to add native languages as like a course that you can take. So, like, you could bring in, like, you know, Native American teachers that could actually teach the Native American language to all Americans, to all of them. Like, because I know there's multiple Native American languages, like there's Navajo, for example, because, like, there is a lot of, like, tribes around where I live. Like, where I live, there's a lot of native tribes, and they, there's less and less people every single year that are speaking their language. Like, less and less people. English is becoming the most common thing, and I think we should try to preserve the languages, the other native languages. I think they should try to be preserved. I think they should be, and I think that one of the best ways to do that would be to, like, offer them as courses in schools. So, like, tell kids, like, if you want to learn, like, you know, a native language, you can take that as, like, a course in high school and stuff like that. Like, I think we could do something like that. I think that would be, like, I would support something like that. I would. Didn't you ban someone with a Hitler profile picture? Yeah, well, that falls under what I just said. I just said earlier that the only two things I'll ban people for are racism and scams. And when somebody comes in with a Hitler picture, of course it's racist. I'm going to kick them out. But what that guy kept doing is that stupid guy with the Hitler picture. What he kept doing is he kept coming into the chat and he made like new profiles and he would call himself the Austrian painter. Like that's what he would always do, and he would have like a picture of Hitler from the 1920s, thinking that I wouldn't recognize it, but I did, and I would just keep throwing him out of chat and kicking him out. What is my favorite Hitman map? In the original Hitman games. I'll answer that in two ways. In the original and the modern games. In the original Hitman games, my favorite map in the original ones would have to probably be... I have to think about this one. Probably Las Vegas, the first Las Vegas map, the first one. The one with the casinos, where you take out the Sheikh, and you also take out the South African white supremacist. That was like, probably the Las Vegas map in the first, in Blood Money. My favorite map in the modern Hitman games, like Hitman 1 through 3, in the new Hitman trilogy, my favorite map in those, probably, let me think of all the maps in that one. Ooh, I'd have to think about that one. We had, like, what? We had Paris, Sapienza, Bangkok, what do we have? Colorado, the Maldives. We had Vermont. I'm trying to think. What was the best map in those? There's some good ones. Berlin. Yeah, Berlin. Probably Berlin. So in the modern ones, Berlin. Probably my favorite one. Yeah, Berlin. What's my favorite state? My favorite state in America? I don't know if I can answer it this way, but my favorite state in America, probably a state that I would say it's probably my favorite state, even though I've never been there. I'm gonna go there in May, so in about a month and a half I'll go there. Hey JBK, my favorite state probably Alaska. Probably is. I know that might be a surprising one, but probably my favorite state is probably Alaska because it's so far from the mainland. It's so different. Mountains, forests. It has large oceans too. The coast. Probably Anchorage. Anchorage probably that specifically. I like that state. I like winters also. Alaska is a bit different than a lot of other states. One thing I also like about Alaska is, what I like about Alaska is I like that Alaska has no sales tax. There is no sales tax on anything that you buy. So like nothing that you buy in Alaska is a sales tax. And on top of that, Alaska has no state income tax. So I like everything really about Alaska. I like it's a mountainous state. I like winters, it has the oceans, forests. It's very isolated. It's quiet. No state income tax, no sales tax. It is probably in my opinion, probably the most American state in the country. When you think about it, no state income tax and no sales tax. So very great place to make money and a great place to make a business too. And despite what people think, Alaska can be a great state to do business, especially if you do in business like a city like Anchorage. Anchorage is a pretty decently sized city, so I would say that. Have you ever stabbed yourself by accident? No. I've cut myself by accident plenty of times. I never stabbed myself, like where I actually had like a blade inside. When I was working in retail, I've cut myself several times with box cutters. I've cut myself while cooking before, done that. Does any other state have none of those taxes? No. I think that, correct me if I'm wrong, Alaska, I think, is Alaska the only state that has no sales tax and no income tax, right? Because there are states that have no income tax, but they have a sales tax. And there are states that have no sales tax, but they have an income tax. I think, is Alaska the only state? Is it? That has no sales tax and no income tax? Oh, New Hampshire. New Hampshire also. Yes, you're right on that. New Hampshire also no sales tax and no income tax. Yes, you're right on that. So New Hampshire is another one. Pozdrawiam. Hey, Real, I understand what you said. How are you? How is Alaska making money? Through its fruit gas? Through trade? You have to also remember, here's something that people don't know about Alaska, right? Is Alaska actually has one of the largest transit hubs for an airport in the world. It has one of the largest cargo airports in the world. So when people think of really large airports, they don't typically think of like Alaska, but Alaska does, because it's like a huge amount of goods that come into America come in through Alaska. A lot of people don't know that. So when they're going through Asia, they'll stop in Anchorage before they fly over to the rest of the US. So Anchorage has a pretty big cargo airport. So a lot of cargo goes through there, and Alaska definitely makes a lot of money and a lot of business through that. So, it's a fairly rich state. It has a lot of resources, and despite Alaska being such a large state, it is the largest state in the country. Alaska does not have a huge population, which makes it easier to govern also. So yeah, I would say probably my favorite state would probably be Alaska. And for people wondering, yes, I could definitely live in Alaska, 100%. I wouldn't mind living in Alaska. I don't mind the cold at all, and I do like that state. Might want to go there one day. I'm going in there in May anyways, but when I want to live there, I'll see what it's like when I visit, and might consider living there one day. As a European resident, I'm shocked how big stuff in America is compared to said continent. Yeah, in America, everything is big. In America, it's there are generally three things that shock Europeans a lot when they come to America. The three things that shock Europeans a lot is, one, a 2-hour drive is normal for Americans, but for Europeans that is not normal. So like when Europeans are like told that Americans drive 2 hours to work, they get really shocked by that. Like Americans see that as normal, but Europeans like get really shocked by that. I know that. The other thing that shocks Europeans a lot is they get shocked by the food portions, because in America the food portions are so big, like compared to Europe. And the other thing that shocks Europeans is how much bigger houses are in America. So in America, houses can be pretty big compared to Europe. Like, you have middle-class families that would be living in 4-bedroom houses. But like in a country like Great Britain, for example, a country my cousin lived in Great Britain, it's, in that country, is you have, these houses, I don't know what they're called, like the brick houses that are all connected. They're all in like one street, and those have 2 floors in them, and the rooms are kind of tiny. They're not big at all. And those are like considered like, pretty expensive in Britain. So that's all I'll say about that too. 2 hours work, 2 hours drive to work is normal. Yeah, for a lot of people it is. You know, my mom, it takes her basically like 90 minutes to get to work. So that's how long it takes my mom to get to work and to get back. Would you mind living in Texas? Maybe. It depends on the part of Texas. If I was to live anywhere in Texas, it would be northern Texas. But the thing about Texas is it's just too hot. It's nothing against Texas personally. It's just I cannot stand the heat. I don't like the heat. I don't like hotness. I know there's parts of Texas that aren't as hot, but that's my main issue with Texas. But the thing is, if you were to ask me, would I rather live in New York, my parents' hometown, or my home state, where I grew up, where my parents are currently living, or rather live in Texas, rather live in Texas. So I'd rather deal with the heat in Texas than have to live in New York personally. You know, New York, there's a lot of crap that was like, it's just such an expensive place to live. It was not fun.
Oh, you don't want to be tying me up. Big mistake.
When are you gonna continue playing Ace Combat Zero? Right after the stream. I'll post the next part. Right after the stream. What about North Dakota near Fargo? Well, I've been to North Dakota. Yeah, I could live in a place like North Dakota. I wouldn't have an issue with that. But the thing about North Dakota is that North Dakota can be a bit colder, which I'm not necessarily against. But North Dakota also has a lower population, and also, like, I get North Dakota can be more of an expensive place depending on where you live. I mean, it's certainly cheaper than a place like New York, definitely, but North Dakota also has an income tax. It does too. I missed a super chat. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me see here if I missed one. Any difference of special schools and regular? What do you mean by that, Aaron? I'm a bit confused. What do you mean by special schools? What do you think about the PS5 price increase? It's stupid. I'll do a video about it tomorrow. I'll also talk about it. It's dumb.
Oh, shit, not again.
Did anyone ever tell you look a bit like Mark Goldbridge from the Nightstand YouTube? What? Who?
This is going to be a long ride.
I gotta look this guy up here. Hold on. Are you saying I look like this person?
There you go.
Mark Goldbridge. I don't think I look like this guy. Yeah, I just looked like him. I don't think I look like him at all. And this guy is, you know, 15 years older than me too. No, I don't think so. I don't think I look like him. They changed the pricing for the PS5. Yes, they did. Though I will tell you something, I do have a cousin that's a YouTuber. He reviews food in a suit all the time. I don't know if you know him. Everything is expensive in New York? Yes. Yes, a lot of things can be expensive in New York. Let me see here. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. No, review bra is not my my cousin. Like the guy who reviews food in the suit. I just always say that as a joke. I'm sure he knows who I am. Because he has people come to my channel all the time, and they say to me, like, you know, you remind me of this guy, like, you look like him and you talk like him and stuff, and you dress up in suits too. And what I started doing is I started saying that Review Bra is my cousin, and people believed me when I said that. But no, it's not true. It's a joke. But it's that's that. But I'm sure he knows who I am, because I know people on his streams have told him that I look like him and I talk like him too. see. Oh, there was, goodbye, Captain Price. Makarov's last words ever. Oh, I'm sorry I didn't see your comment. Ghost Studio Comics. Yeah, that is actually Makarov's final words when you think about it, too. Yeah, you're right. No, what has Jim Carrey done? I mean, last year you cosplayed him as a lot. Not really. I didn't, when I dressed up in a suit or anything, I wasn't trying to copy Review Bra or anything. That's just my own thing. I heard about that meme, yes, with McDonald's CEO. What do you think about General Barkov as an antagonist? General Barkov was actually a pretty interesting villain. Yes, I would say that. Also, my question is, can anybody who knows like the Modern Warfare lore, and when I say like the Modern Warfare lore, I'm talking about the modern games, like the new ones, the new Modern Warfare games. What the hell happened to Al-Assad in the new Modern Warfare games? Does anybody know? Because it was like, I remember Al-Assad appears at the end of Modern Warfare 2019, like right when you beat the game, there's like a cutscene where it shows him invading Verdansk with Al-Qatala, like executing like a Russian soldier that he just captured. But like they just never mentioned him again. Like what the hell happened to Al-Assad in that? Like where did he go? Okay, let's do legendary bounties. Let's see, what do we got here? Let's do something interesting. Okay, hang on. Why is this one at 3 stars? I remember I beat Balbura Alcazar at 5 stars. No, let's do Philip Carlier. This one is just really, this one is ridiculous, this bounty. Philip Carlier, yeah, this one is Oh, well, oh, okay. That's what you meant then, Aaron. It's a special needs school. Okay, I was just a bit confused. Well, Hassan was definitely a better villain than Makarov was. That's what I'll say about that. Yeah, this guy can be really annoying.
Mr. Philip Carlier. I don't know where to start with this one. I remember when his poster first went up. Mild-mannered, they said. Well, they all are, until they ain't. I might have even looked for him too, but none of us could find him. It sounds like they spotted him in the swamps. If that's where he's been, on the run all this time, then God help him. Ain't much in the way of company out there, or much that won't try and eat you or put you on a pike. Got to ask what years of that might have done to his
Do I feel
mind.
bad for Barkov's family in Modern Warfare 2019? Maybe to an extent, but the thing is that his family knew exactly who he was. They knew who he was, they knew what he did. They lived in the wealth that he provided.
Take heavens you're here. See, I've been here for, must be years. Trapped, See, I thought no one would ever come. Philip Carlier, the Castile Cotton Company chief clerk. But, I'm sure you already know that, given why you're here. My, can't imagine how it must look. Oh, no time for any of that. Now, if you'll just let me... Oh, I was so hoping for someone to share this with. Comes on rather strong the first time, does it not?
Yeah, this bounty is ridiculous. When he knocks you out, it gets really annoying. Oh, somebody got killed by him. Yep. Retry again. Okay. Yeah. I know you gotta watch out for Carlier. He's, Guys, use a shotgun if you got it. I don't think in this mission that you can actually lock on. I think you have to use free aim. Listen for when Carlier talks. This bounty mission can be pretty difficult.
Oh, there you are.
Is he a ghost? No, it's a hallucination. But if the hallucination gets you, you die. Listen for the sound. This mission is creepy, it is, yeah. I remember I made a guide on how to complete this mission years ago, and it got so many views. Like, a lot of people were just watching this because they were struggling with this mission. Oh, crap. God, yep. He will one-hit kill you, so if he gets up to you, you die instantly. Yeah, you gotta take him down a bunch of times, but eventually it'll stop. Is it over? Okay, oh, okay, the hallucinations are gone. Guys, get a rifle for this part. A rifle or a shotgun. How did I get the winter cowboy jacket? I think this was part of an event. Like, it was part of a DLC, and it was part of the Outlaw Pass. The crazy thing about this mission is this mission gets even harder. That's not the hardest part. The hallucinations are actually the easy part. Watch out, the alligators are gonna come now.
What a waste of a good alligator. My friends, protect me.
For some reason, the alligators will come and try to save him.
Quick, aren't they? Yeah. I'm being abducted.
General, just put him on my horse and run. What the? Is that an arrow I hear? Swamp people are here. Okay.
How you feeling? Get clear out again, I hope. Yeah, those vapors, they are quite strong. Yes, yes, quite strong indeed.
Yeah, the alligators will spawn and they'll go after you.
You got the wrong man, you see. My, really? Oh, that's uncalled for. Now, please.
What's my favorite Fargo characters? My favorite Fargo character would probably be Mr. Wrench. Yeah, Mr. Wrench is probably my favorite character in the series. You rank this guy as easy. I remember I did, because if the reason I ranked him as easy is because if you're quick, you can just get through that mission. Just avoid the alligators if you're really quick. But like we got through that mission actually pretty quickly, because if we hung around there would have been like tons of alligators that would spawn and go after you. You can just deliver him. You don't have to wait. Just deliver him.
Those 10 clan members.
Rehabilitation might be beyond them, but we may hope.
Well, he's not going to get rehabilitation.
Run is ours, so the bounty's yours. Right
He
there,
killed
boy.
someone. He's going to get hanged for that. Well, Hokkaido, I like Hokkaido in real life, but I just didn't like. I don't like the map Hokkaido that much in Hitman 1. Hokkaido was pretty difficult in Hitman 1. So it's like the game spawning like triple of our characters. Wait, hang on. You know, people say that Abigail is the snitch. I don't know if I believe that. I don't think I believe that. No, there would have been more proof for it. River fishing challenge. Oh, maybe we could actually do that. Remember, last time I did the river fishing challenge, I messed up. Maybe we can actually do it this time. Oh, that's a really long story though, Sweet Indica. I don't know if I'm in the mood to tell that long story right now. Another time, perhaps. Oh wait. Hang on. Oh great, it's starting. Okay. Put away rod. Okay. Ow. Trying to look for the bigger fish. Is this really based on luck? The luck part is based on if you find the fish in the right spot first. That's what might be based on luck there. I gotta go to a different spot. There's nothing here. Okay. I think this event is like glitched sometimes, this one. Because sometimes there's like no fish that spawn anywhere. He found the good fish there. Okay. I haven't played Silent Hill, but I'm open to playing it one day. I used to be really good at this event, but only if I find the fish in the right location. I could get a lot of them, but... Hey, London. Damn. I can't find anything here. I might be sabotaging myself. Are you talking about Truman, Mario? A lot of people don't know you can fish from the rocks. See if we can do something here. What are they about, Zach? Is it true Polish Mafia exists? Of course. It's not as, big as some of the other, crime organizations, but yeah, there's a Polish Mafia, definitely. Come on. Come on, come on. Let me get one of these medium fish here. Oh, damn, I might not get anything here. Yeah, this is why I say sometimes this event is glitched, guys. No, I haven't seen a trailer for the new Harry Potter series. I did have Phoenix tell me a little bit about that, though, but I'll see you, General. Damn, couldn't even get anything here. Are you a fan of Super Mario Brothers? Some of them. When I was a kid, I really liked Super Mario Sunshine. I really liked that game. Oh, look, finally. Maybe all hope isn't lost. Maybe I'll actually be able to get something here. Did you know the lore of Ace Combat is so obscure that one interesting lore is found in a model kit? What? I didn't know that. Have you played them before, Phoenix? The series? Wasn't that the sign to refer to communism, though, Mario, right? To that he was gonna stop it? Damn, I don't know how he caught that many fish. I don't know how he did that. Yeah, well, the thing is, Minion Dave, is all the Ace Combat games are in the same universe. So it's not like there's a different universe for the different games. All of them are the same timeline. And the Balkan War, Ace Combat 0, is the first chronological war in the series. Even though it's not the first game that came out, it is chronologically the first conflict. And the Balkan War sets up the timeline for a lot of the other wars, because that war caused a lot of the other wars in the series. And chances are that in Ace Combat 8, there is going to be they are going to reference the Balkan War again. Chances are in Ace Combat 8. But also, I don't want to spoil anything. There is one character that might come back in Ace Combat 8 from Ace Combat 0. So I don't want to spoil that for you because you're watching the playthrough, but I'll explain what I mean when I get through later in the story. What's the worst chapter in Red Dead Redemption 2, in your opinion? Maybe the first one, the snow chapter, is kind of boring. But I actually really like Guarma. I know some people really hated Guarma, but I actually really like Guarma because it was so different. It was like a tropical island with like a brutal dictatorship, and it was like you were taking on an army. So like I actually like Guarma. Well, just watch Phoenix, because a lot of the super weapons that are in Ace Combat are actually based on real life super weapons. Like, for example, those giant Balkan AA fortresses are based on Nazi flag towers. And there's also going to be another super weapon that the Balkans use that's based on a real life Nazi super weapon, which I'll talk about that in the playthrough as I get through it. But I'm going to upload the next part of Ace Combat right after the stream here. But I guess I'm probably gonna wrap up the stream here. I'll answer a few questions before I go. Do you guys want to ask me anything before I go here? Let me see here. Is your last name actually Kowalski? No, it's not. There's a lot of people that believe that my last name was Kowalski because whenever I would make like whenever I would make a character in a game and I chose like the first and last name, I would always choose Kowalski as my last name, and people thought that was my last name. Well, no, it's not. It is just it's a very stereotypical Polish name. That's why I always chose it. Like Kowalski is basically like the Polish version of Gomez. That's basically what it is. It's like the most stereotypical like Polish last name that you can have. Am I working on that new GT Online video? Yes, but I'm gonna make a video tomorrow talking about the PlayStation price increases. I'm gonna talk about that. A cyborg fighting alien invaders on a colony ship. The plot centers on Durandal, an AI whose rampancy leads him to seek Godhand and escape the universe's death. Huh. Well, they had Mexico in Red Dead Redemption 1 guilted. Novak is the most common Polish name? I guess, maybe, but Kowalski is a pretty common one, too. But I guess we will be going here, guys. What do I think happened to Jack Marston in the events of Red Dead Redemption 1? I think he was a, he probably lived a pretty depressing life. Probably didn't do a lot of good things. Am I related to Report of the Week? No, I'm not. It was just a joke. A lot of people say I'm like him, so that's why some people say that. But I guess we'll be wrapping this up here, guys. Nuevo Paradiso means new paradise in Mexico. But thank you guys for watching. I hope that you guys enjoyed the stream. If you did, drop a like, and I will see you guys on the next one. Take care.